Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of My Life with Asperger's. My name is Mike Demaro, and this episode we're going to talk about employment. Now, I have talked about employment on my earlier videos and my employment experiences, but I'm going to talk about in detail of what I deal with and how you should be dealing with employment if you're an Asperger's person or a person on the spectrum. You know, it's the first thing you have to do is go to an interview. Well, actually, the first thing is you have to apply for a job. You have to find a job that's right for you because some of the jobs out there in this world require you to have experience and they also require you to have a degree and, you know, it also has to be right for you because some of the jobs out there are going to be very hard for someone that's on the Asperger's and autism spectrum. Now, where I work, it's a very high-paced work environment where we have to serve the guest and we have to talk to the guest and we have to keep up because when it gets busy, we have to keep up, There's no slowing down when it gets busy. You can't fail when it gets busy. You have to fly with flying colors when you work, when it's busy, you know? Now, the question is, why do I work at a place like Pizza Planet? You know, that answer is because when the people thought that I worked, when the people thought when they interviewed me, they thought I was a good candidate for it, so they put me there. Anyways, that's our next step in this interviews. Now, when you go for an interview, don't be afraid to ask them. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you have any questions in the interview or at the end of the interview, they ask if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask them, because that way you'll know how it is to work. You'll know more about the environment you're going to get into. I know it's hard, but you got to consider yourself. Do I want to work here? Do I want to be here working and earning my money? Do I want to be here 40 hours a week, let's say? Do I want to be here 5 days a week? Do I want to be here when it's busy? Do I want to be here when it's dead? Well, you gotta put that in your mind. You gotta ask those questions, because if you don't ask those questions, then you're probably gonna get lost on trying to find the employment. Now, I have this hard time dealing with interviews too because of the nervousness. I get nervous when I go into for an interview. It's real hard for me to go for an interview sometimes, but I try my best to answer the questions that they ask. I try to supply them with the answers I get. I can give them. Now, one of the most important things is you have to have eye contact. Now, that's a part I struggle with, and probably most of you with Asperger's and autism, you probably also struggle with eye contact. Now, you probably drift your eyes someplace else. Well, let's look at it this way. You may think you have perfect eye contact, but when the other person that's asking the questions, they probably see you drifting off, they probably think you're not interested, and that's why you probably will not get the job. Now, that has happened to me. Now, if it's a job that you're really interested in, you gotta keep your eye on the ball, keep your eye on the eye, and answer those questions correctly. Or you gotta keep your eye on the eye, Now, let's say you get a job. You have it. Then the next question is probably going to be, how do you deal with your coworkers? Well, simply enough, you have to deal with coworkers no matter where you work or wherever you are, you know? I deal with coworkers all the time, and I get to know them and get to introduce myself, get to know them a little bit, and see if we have anything in common, and see where they're good at working, you know? Now, I have problems at my job now, you know, but the next thing is, what type of jobs are good for people with autism and Asperger's? Now, working in a library can be good for you. Working in a quiet place can be good for you. Now, if you have one of those luxuries and you get one of those jobs, I praise you, because I'm trying to get one of those jobs too. Now, a bad place to probably find a job is fast food, quick service, where I am now. Anything that deals with guests, deal with customers, you have to deal with their attitudes, whether it's good or bad. You have to deal with them. And I know I try my best to cheer them up every single day I work. And then sometimes, too, you also have to deal with those guests or customers that do not know English. Yes, you have to know how to deal with that. You have to deal with those that knows Espanol, which is Spanish, or Portuguese, or French. You know, you have to deal with those too. Because, you know, America, though we mostly speak English, we have visitors that are not from this country.
You got mail.
So, sorry about that. That's my mail. I'm not going to read that now. But anyways, you have to deal with their customs sometimes. Now, I noticed that when I work on the busing and all that, cleaning the tables and all that, I noticed that guests do leave their trays behind on the table, or their mess behind the table. They expect us to clean it up. In a quick service restaurant, they expect us to clean it up, because that's what they do in their countries. You have to learn that. It's like, why do they do that? Now, somebody with Asperger's and autism is trying to figure that out. You know, it's real hard for them to figure out, oh, what language are they speaking? Or why do they leave the trays on the table when they're done with them? You know, that's real hard for us to understand. And also, our restaurant has an arcade, so we get all the noise. The boom, boom, boom from the games, you know? And that can be real hard for someone with Asperger's and autism. Also, the busyness, depending on what time of year it is. That can be real stressful. So that's why I'm going to take the category of fast food, quick service out of a good job for Asperger's people, autism people. Because if you don't know how to control stress, if you don't know how to control busyness and all that, then it's not going to work out for you. I know I'm trying to deal with it, but I got to hang in there. I want another job. I graduated from college. I deserve a better job than what a job is for a high school graduate, you know? I know it's real hard, but my head is hung high here, so I'm praying every single day that I will get a new job. It's just been real hard, you know? Now, I'm going to end this video, and if I have any more concerns about work, I will make another episode about that topic. But for right now, I'm going to end it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you'll learn something from it. Thank you.